And welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. This is episode 2 of A Few Good Nerds podcast. I am your host, Ed, followed along by my other two hosts, Dan. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And my other host, John. What's going on, bro?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
And we have a special guest today, our average viewer, a.k.a. Benny. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
So, guys, we're going to be talking today about the X-Men Apocalypse movie. Right now, this movie came out last week, and there's a lot of controversy following this movie. There's a lot of mixed reviews. Some of the critics really hammered it. Some of the critics gave it good reviews. Some of the users gave it really good reviews. Some of the users hammered it. We watched it, and I'll tell you what, I thought it was all right. It was well done. There were some issues with it, but first of all, let's go into introduction. There was a big controversial character. It was Apocalypse. Played by the best damn pilot in the Resistance, Poe Dameron over there, but it was played by Oscar Isaac. I think him himself did a fantastic job playing Apocalypse. I will have to agree that he did kind of look like Mr. Ooze a little bit. What do you guys think?
Definitely in the beginning, I would say, he seemed more in the beginning, he looked like Ooze, and then it kind of got a little better as the movie went on, I think. Definitely.
I mean, he didn't look anything like the comic books, but I understand why they did it, and I thought he looked great, honestly. But yeah, no, he definitely looked like Ivan Ooze.
He definitely did. And I mean, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. It was just, I laughed when I saw it. I was like, wow, he really kind of does look like it. I was like, haha. It was
While
alright.
you guys were thinking that, dude, I was thinking about who was the actor that was doing it, and then I was like halfway through the movie, I was like, oh, that's the guy from Star Wars. I was like, there you go, like under all that makeup. He actually didn't look that bad, though.
No, I mean, I think the guy, I think he did a fantastic job playing Apocalypse, and I commend him for it. I think he did it was a hard role for he had to do, and I think he pulled it off pretty well. Besides Apocalypse, we also had Psylocke and Angel who were brought into the mix. They promoted Olivia Munn quite a bit. I mean, she was in a lot of promotion, advertisements, and everything, and I expected her to have such a much bigger role in the movie, but she kind of fell flat for me. What do you guys think?
I think the Four Horsemen were underutilized the whole movie.
Yeah?
I think they were, with all like the movie trailers and all that, I feel like they weren't shown enough.
I feel like there was such a build-up, and I feel like they almost did nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
The Four Horsemen from the beginning did more.
Yeah, I mean, besides Psylocke flipping around and doing her little, pulling her katana and her pink, side blade and everything. I was like, all right, cool. And this Angel, this was like a disappointment for me. And then you had, besides Magneto and Storm, I think the other two were just really a letdown. They just didn't do enough. Like, you're right, though. You're right there, Benny.
So what do you think about, was there enough action in this movie to keep the viewers going? I personally was at the edge of my seat, even if there were reclined chairs. I was at the edge of my seat. I was like, what's going on? I was looking over to John. I'm like, who is this? Who is that? I was actually probably annoying him a lot, but...
No, I was fine. You kept screaming in parts. Like when the cops killed Magneto's daughter, all Benny was screaming, oh, you messed up. You done messed up. Oh, God, this is going to come back so bad. And I'm like, Benny, shh. And then I got my fiance who's on the right who learned how to whisper in a helicopter. Is like, what did he do? Everything's going to go bad now. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
But what do you guys think?
I mean, also, not to forget, Storm, it was kind of a little on the corny side, when he was giving her full potential.
Yeah.
Her hair was changing colors.
It
reminds
me of that. The first X-Men movie when Magneto was giving Rogue his power and she had that little stripe of hair. I'm like, come on, dude. I'm like, seriously.
How accurate is that towards the comics? Because for me, as a person that's not really into the comics, I've known about X-Men my whole entire life from the cartoons. Heck, I was Italian. I didn't speak English. So, watching these cartoons, it was all like, oh, put Channel 11 on, let me watch this.
Yeah, that threw me off so much because I'm like, oh, yeah, the 90s cartoon. You're like, I've never seen it. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Was it accurate with Storm and how Apocalypse gave her full potential of powers?
No, in the comic books and in the cartoon even, she actually is raised by the Shadow King, who's like a really high-level psychic who Xavier battles and ends up taking her away from him. But I like how they included it, and I understand why they they did it. And Apocalypse always has four horsemen kind of to do his bidding and stuff. But I feel like, unfortunately, it did take away in this movie because, you know, Apocalypse in the comic book is the end-all, be-all. He is the big bad. Everyone wants to beat him up. Cable even comes back from the future to stop Apocalypse because he's that bad. When you have like 2 or 3 future people coming back in time to stop them, you know you up.
All right, so overall, we thought that the utilization of the Four Horsemen wasn't used to its full potential, which, what are you going to do? I can understand there's a lot going on in the movie. So now let's talk about the new, we have the young X-Men now. So we got young Scott, young Jean, and Jubilee. Yeah, my fingers are glowing. I don't know why. I don't know why there was so much emphasis on her, because I could care less about her character. I'm sorry to the actress playing Jubilee, nothing against you, but the mutant is boring to me. I mean, what do you guys think of the younger versions?
Well, the reason why they included Jubilee is because it was supposed to be the 80s, which she is like the embodiment of the 80s. Like, she goes to malls, she listens to music, she wears like the crazy 80s clothing, which is why they included her.
I mean, so you're talking about 2016 now, so pretty much everyone does the same exact thing now.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, I mean, if you see like even the 90s cartoon, Jubilee was like the main character that introduced us to the X-Men, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, what did you guys think about the new ones? I mean, I didn't mind them. I thought they were good. I liked Sansa Stark or Sophie Turner.
Yeah, that's
I liked their interpretation of Jean Grey. I think she
the only thing I was thinking of, I was like, wow, she's so beautiful. And yeah.
she's an attractive lady, I must say.
I wish she's a phoenix, but she's so beautiful.
Attractive young lady. I mean, I don't think she did a bad job playing it. I think it's a complex character.
She did a good job. It was kind of weird not hearing her with the accent. I found that pretty interesting, but I think she did a great job.
Yeah.
And plus, they brought Nightcrawler back, and he's like one of my favorite X-Men. So just the fact that they brought him back made me so happy.
I like how everyone. The funny part is when there's that movie theater scene, he's casually walking out in the movie theater, and nobody cares that he's there. Nobody's saying a word. And oh, look at this blue dude just walk right by us and everything. I'm going to talk about one of my 2 personal favorite scenes. I think was which everyone's probably going to love too, is the Quicksilver scene. I think Quicksilver did a phenomenal job. The guy who played Quicksilver. I think that scene was great. It was probably one of the best parts in the Days of Future Past. I think we can all agree on that.
I like how they put that in the new movie. And plus, I think it was a nice little spark too. Was the music that was played while
absolutely it made it. Same thing in the movie before. Definitely the music made it that much better.
They were right on with the music for that scene. It was perfect.
It was crazy. I don't know if you guys saw, they had a thing on TV they were showing how they made it, and there was a lot that went into making that scene possible. I was like, holy crap, man. I was like, that's really crazy.
When that scene comes on, you're not paying attention to you're paying attention to what he's doing and who he saved, and I completely did not realize that he didn't grab Havoc first.
Yeah.
And I was playing that scene in my head like right after the fact, and I'm like, I thought he grabbed Havoc, but I guess no.
Yeah, he was really close to where everything exploded.
I mean, they needed some initializer for Scott, though, in my mind. They had some kind of way for his character to, I guess, progress forward, which is fine. I mean, he's a character that you had to look at, had to die in the course of the making of the movie, so I was fine with it.
It's funny that they're actually brothers, because everyone was talking about that when he got casted as Alex Summers. They're like, wait, that's his, are they going to make him Scott's brother? Does he just happen to have the same name? Like, what's going on with that? And I thought that was really cool that they actually made him related.
That was cool. Yeah.
Now, Havoc is not in the X-Men comics, is he?
He is, but there's a whole really weird history with him. He's the younger brother, I think.
Oh, he's the younger brother of Scott.
Yeah.
Well, that was all just made up. Because
No, in the comic books, he's got a younger brother who's Havoc.
In in the movie, they flipped it around. That's pretty much what it seems like.
Because the father, too, is supposed to be like this really famous space pirate. But obviously in the movies, he's like, he's not.
He's like, well, we haven't get to the moon yet. I mean.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that scene was good. To say my favorite by far is the Wolverine cameo. I think that scene, when they released it in the trailer, I think that's what made people go and see it. Because I mean, think about it. Hugh Jackman's been in every X-Men movie pretty much. So I think that when you think of Wolverine, you think of X-Men, you think automatically Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. So
and I thought that he wasn't going to be in the movie at all. Like, I even turned to John and I was like, is Wolverine in this movie? And You just wait and see. He doesn't want to spoil it for me. Well,
I actually didn't even know he was going to be in it. So when he popped out in the Weapon X costume, I geeked out immediately. I'm like, oh my god, it's Weapon X. It's actually the costume. Like, holy hell. Like, you've never seen him in this alliteration. Because even in his movie, he kind of popped out of the tank soaking wet. He never had, like, the actual Weapon X uniform that you've seen in the comic books, the cartoons, the toys even. You've never seen it in, like, a real action thing.
I think that they did a good job putting him in there because they kind of needed it. There was another problem, though. Like I said, there's one of my issues with that whole thing was at the end of The Future Past, you had Mystique, and how do you end up back there?
Which, about Mystique, Ed, she used her abilities, like, 3 times? I'm probably overusing that. I think more like 2 times. She was in that.
She was in human form practically the majority of the movie.
Whole movie.
Yeah.
There was a thing they were talking about, I think, because how long it takes for her to get in that costume. So I guess, I mean, it took away from the character.
That was a letdown for me, honestly.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I felt about like her especially being, in human foremost. I guess I'm all right with it. I mean,
it's funny because her nephew is actually a really huge X-Men fan, and he doesn't even really think that she's an X-Men because she's not in the comic books, which I thought was hysterical.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the ending? I mean, the last battle. Pretty epic battle.
I mean, like I said, it kind of felt like it almost built up into almost nothing. I feel like there was so much build up of him building this team back, and then they barely used that many powers when Psylocke was fighting, and even Storm, whatever. It was very lackluster, I feel. The movie kind of dragged to that point, and then you expected like a crazy battle. You expected even more out of him. I feel like he barely did anything. He shielded himself, and that was basically it.
Did anyone else notice that Nightcrawler just teleported them 10 feet away from Apocalypse?
Yeah.
What was that about? Like, Apocalypse could have actually, like, flew to him or something, but, like, no, there was, like, let me crush the wall that's right next to me. Ooh, wait, they're in there. I was like, that was something I turned around, I was like, that's lame.
You know what the whole point of the end battle was, right?
What was that?
The whole point was to explain why Xavier's bald. It's like literally the thing that came out of it was.
Oh yeah, I saw balls.
That was the whole movie. That's what I was thinking. Like, when is he gonna lose his hair?
Even with Magneto, when you saw him and he was moving everything, the buildings, he destroying everything. He didn't do anything with all that. I don't know if anyone noticed that. He did nothing. He stood there in the air, had the same shit channeling around him. He pretty much did nothing. And then he decided, like, these are my friends. I gotta help them.
Well, that's because Quicksilver came over and he was like, oh, I'm your person that's here to cheer you on. I'm not your son. And, like, ran away.
He was like, Papa.
Yeah.
And,
Talk about Magneto, though, to get back on that. I mean, I don't know, like, it was weird. Like, you had Magneto living this happy life, and then it goes to crap, and he decides, okay, because, some bad stuff happened, I'm just gonna go on some crazy, like, killing spree and kill a whole bunch of innocent people. I'm like, well, dude, like, you kind of messed up in the last movie you're in. You tried to kill the President of the United States, but by dropping a stadium on you.
Well, essentially, at this point, X-Men 1, 2, and 3 didn't happen. This is kind of rebooting everything. Like, Days of Future Past showed you that everything didn't really happen that way. So I think what they even said is they're setting up a brand, like, this is the last of the trilogy. This is everything with James A. Roy, Fassbender, and, Jennifer Lawrence, and now they're going to start focusing on the younger generation, I feel like, which is another reason why they brought them in. Now they can tackle the 90s, but, what villains... I guess the Easter egg really is kind of a setup for that.
But
you know what I mean?
Is it set up for that? Or for the Wolverine movie?
Talking about the briefcase?
Well, okay, so if you look at the briefcase in the Easter eggs, it says Essex.
Oh, yeah, there we go. So if you know what we're talking about, guys. We're talking about the bonus clip at the end of the actual end of the movie. When you sit through all the credits of all the people who made the movie and everything, there's a 30-second clip of some men walking into the Weapon X facility and cleaning up all the casings and bullets and bodies, and a gentleman in a black suit takes a vial of blood out of the container and puts into a briefcase, and it says Essex, right?
Yeah. In the comic books, there's a guy who Apocalypse recruits named Nathaniel Essex, but you would know him as Mr. Sinister. His whole goal is to create the perfect being, because essentially he wants to kill Apocalypse. And he realizes in the comic book that the genes that can do this are Scott and Jean's kid will have the perfect combination to kill Apocalypse. So I think they're going to bring him in the next movie, which would be really interesting. But it throws me off because Apocalypse was in this movie, so you don't have that tie-in. So I guess they're just going to make him his own character.
Did they really kill Apocalypse at the end? I mean, what do you guys... this is supposed to be one of the most powerful guys in the world.
Well, I can't really give any
I mean, you could just say
feedback on that
as a
because
moviegoer.
I saw him die, and I don't know the comics. I don't know if he gets reincarnated. I don't know Apocalypse's background. I don't know his powers per se.
In the comic books, he kind of has like bodies in tubes, so if he dies, he kind of just gets ejected into that.
Saying that to me after the movie was over, that he gets reincarnated or something like that, or with the tubes and all that stuff.
Don't think they're going that route in the movie. I think this is probably the last we've seen of Apocalypse for now.
I feel like he was killed off so easily then.
Well, no, it's the Phoenix. That's the other thing too. The Phoenix is pretty much like a god level creature. Yeah.
If I'm an average moviegoer and I'm going to watch this movie, I'm going to rate this. If I was going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, but we would use Wolverine claws, but I don't have Wolverine claws. I'm just going to use my fancy rap horn over here. I'm going to rate it 7.5. So I'm going to rate it a 7.5 on the scale out of 10. The reason why I can say, I'm going to give you why. The utilization of the characters, I feel it wasn't done right. I don't know what Bryan Singer was trying to accomplish. I don't think he hit the nail on the head with some of these characters, especially the Horseman of Apocalypse. He didn't really hit it. I don't know. The pacing was weird. It was really slow, sped up, slow. There was some weird things. The end battle was this lackluster. I was like, God. I was hoping for something more. Like, I wanted to see, like, maybe, like, do something. I mean, come on. You're Apocalypse, for God's sake.
Yeah, I agree. I would go with a 7 also. I feel like the beginning was building up, and it felt like it was going to be really good. You started to see some of his powers there. He put the guy into the wall and he made guys disappear. I mean, you started to see it. You were like, oh, wow, this is going to be, something good. And then it kind of dragged. He put together his team, and you're like, all right, there's going to be a big battle at the end. It's going to be awesome. And it just disappointed me. Part of the main reason why I even give it a 7, I may even have gone to like a 6, was the whole Quicksilver scene and the Wolverine scene kind of boosted it up for me. If it wasn't for those two, I probably would have gone with a 6.
I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to give it a 7.5. I don't have an air horn right now, unfortunately. But, the Quicksilver scene and the Wolverine scene definitely saved it. But the thing that bothered me the most was the first 5 minutes of the film. When they're in Egypt, his horsemen are like the 4 most badass horsemen you'll ever have. And I feel like
they're pretty cool.
Olivia Munn is such a great actress, and her interpretation of Psylocke I thought was amazing. I feel like they wasted that. Storm, they didn't do as much as they should have, and Angel threw me off because he had that weird little talon thing, and he doesn't have that in the comic books, and I was like, oh, but when he turned into Archangel, I was like, oh, this is great, this is going to be awesome, and then they just didn't do that much with him, unfortunately.
You got hit with that quick stun, 1-2 combo.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, if Nightcrawler beat him the first time, he got him the second time too. Did he? I forget. He didn't die, right? He just, like, the plane hit.
I think he had a plane on top of his body, unless Apocalypse hooked him up with some metal legs at the same time he gave him some wings. I mean, I don't know.
No, because I think he was alive, because Apocalypse looks at him and he goes, oh, just
useless or something like that. Yeah.
Then he jumps into the fight, and then the Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't think he died.
Like, I think he's been missing some lower parts of his body. What about you, Benny? What'd you think? As an average guy, if you knowing nothing about comics or anything, what would you have to rate this?
I love action. You get me with a movie with action. You get me at the side, like up on my seat. I love it. But I would also give it a 7. I enjoyed the film. The 4 horsemen were underutilized the whole movie. Like John said, the 4 horsemen in the beginning of the movie were so badass. I'm sorry. That one chick that I don't even know her name.
Pestilence, probably. That's probably what it would have been.
The one that basically shielded Apocalypse.
Yeah, that was
she was so cool. But then you get this guy with angel wings that at one point gets trapped in like this cage, and then doesn't realize he could use his metallic wings to just get out of it. I just didn't love Apocalypse, and his betrayed was adequate. Really cool death scenes involving him. The whole movie was like with the snap of his finger, how he just sunk everyone into the ground and into a wall. Jean, on the other hand, was extremely hot. But she sidelined the whole movie, and until Phoenix was revealed is when she was given her own, like, time. I don't know if any of y'all have seen that. The whole movie, she was not there. But then all of a sudden Phoenix appeared, and she was like, oh, you're the best. Honestly, that's how I think. I'm sorry. And I feel like the Havoc, that you didn't need that. I personally didn't know who Havoc was. I had to actually watch the first movie again.
I think that this movie suffered the same problem that this past season of Arrow did. There's too many people in the movie for you to really, pay attention and focus.
There was a lot of mutants in this movie.
There's a lot, and that's the thing. When you got too many actors, you have too many, really cool people on the screen, it's hard to capture it all. And that's, I think, where this movie kind of kind of fell on it. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna tell you this. If you're a X-Men fan and you really watch the cartoons, you watch the comic books when you're growing up, I definitely think you should go see it. See it, support the actors, actresses, the studios, because you think about this like, hey, they're not gonna make another movie if falls on its face. But on the other hand too, like I would also say I would express your dislike of the story and how it was handled. I don't say don't go see it. I do say go into the movie with an open mind and I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna see how it goes. That's what I say you guys should do.
Exactly. I mean, definitely go with an open mind. I mean, again, a 7 is pretty decent. I gave it a 7. It is definitely pretty decent.
It's got a sturdy background. So, with that being said, I'd like to thank you all for tuning into our podcast this week for episode 2, X-Men Apocalypse. Make sure if you guys have anything you guys want to talk about, just feel free to email us at afewgoodnerds@gmail.com or check us out on Twitter at afewgoodnerds. Also, look for us on iTunes and SoundCloud at afewgoodnerds. And next week's podcast, we will be talking about either Overwatch or The Witcher 3, the Blood and Wine, the newest and final expansion of the story of Geralt of Rivia, one of my favorite games. With that being said, adieu.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for having me on here, guys.